Hi, everyone. I'm Chelsea Mallory. I'm 35. I'm from San Jose, California, and my connection to Lorenzo's house is through my mama, Kathy, with a C, who walked with younger onset Alzheimer's disease and died in October of 2022. Jessica?
Yeah, hi. I'm Jessica Egger. I'm 42. I'm from Chicago, born and raised. And my mom, Kathy, with a K, had younger onset Alzheimer's, and she was diagnosed in 2014 and passed away in 2021. That's really why I came to Lorenzo's house. I came as a daughter, looking for a space of understanding and a space to grieve with others. And now I am here as a volunteer and as a youth lead. So we're just happy to share a little bit about our moms today. And Chelsea, I would love to hear from you. Just anything more you'd like to share about your beautiful mom, Kathy, maybe a specific memory or lesson that you carry with her that sticks with you.
Thank you. I think for me, a specific memory or a lesson that I carry from her that sticks with me is mainly to stay grounded, to not make myself feel smaller for the comfort or entitlement of others, and ultimately to be true to myself. After she died, I found a handwritten note that she had in her things that says, "Stay present and be aware of your own power over your own destiny and your true self. Meet your fate head on." That was obviously a message that she wrote to empower herself, but it empowers me every day when I look at it at my desk, as if she wrote it for me. And a memory I think is that she had a laugh that could be heard from a mile away. And I can remember a specific moment early in my caregiving journey that was really rather serious and frustrating for me than anything else. But my mom just happened to have a moment of levity and let out a little laugh. It may have been a wires cross dementia moment, but it reminds me not to try not to take everything so seriously and to find humor in something, hold on to the light that it can bring if I'm able to find it.
Love that so much, Chelsea. I really do. I think, when you were talking about finding that note from your mom, one of the things that really sticks with me as a lesson also is a note from my mom that I hold very dear. It was an email, but I'll just read it because there are so many lessons in it. So I was a brand new teacher, about to start my career, and I was just feeling super overwhelmed. I was finding a new apartment, I was buying a car, I was starting a new job, and I just didn't know if I could handle it all. And so I must have sent my mom a kind of overwhelmed, panicked email, and she responded to me and she just said, "You will be a fabulous teacher. This is the beginning of your new life. Let it wash over you and excite you. Go with it knowing this is once in a lifetime experience. Nothing is more important than making a new life for a child who may have gotten lost without you. Your kids are just names on a roster now, but soon they will be your joys and your trials. I'm so proud of you." And I think why I hold this so dear is there's so many lessons in here that she taught me that are captured. I think one, she was about service to others. She believed that was really our purpose, was to be here for other people, to help other people, to make everyone's lives better. And I try to live that too. She always modeled that for me. She was a teacher. She went back to school after raising kids and after being a chemist to be a chemistry teacher. So have that connection with her. I think another lesson that's in there is to embrace scary or new things. She really would lean into challenging moments and to new things and try it. And not only to lean into it, but to do that with joy and excitement, like she was encouraging me to do in that moment. And then I think the last thing is just that idea that there can be multiple emotions at once and sometimes caused by the same thing. She talked about my students being my joys and my trials, and she taught me that you can feel grief and joy, and you can feel happiness and sadness, and it's okay to have both of those feelings about the same thing or at the same time. And I think that really prepared me for the loss of her to know that there will be both through this. So yeah, that it sticks with me. I read it all the time just to remember those lessons.
Absolutely. Those are like special little gifts that keep on giving because they can be applied to so many different things, as you were saying. Yeah. Thanks, Jessica. A question I have for you is, what is something you wish more people understood about being a daughter of a parent who lived with younger onset dementia in this experience? What comes to mind?
Oh, so many things. But I think one thing that's really sticking out to me right now is that I want to talk about her. I wish people knew I wanted to talk about her. I think sometimes they're afraid to ask or bring it up, especially around days like Mother's Day. But she's always on my mind. And so having the opportunity to either share my memories or moments or to hear stories that other people have of her, even ones I might not know about, or especially ones I might not know about. Hearing what she meant to other people is always really special too. So I wish people just knew that and did that more. And I think too, just, throughout this whole journey, I wish people knew how isolating and lonely it was and how frustrating it was that it seemed like so many systems and things were set against my mom and my family. And I think that's true for all of us walking this younger onset dementia journey. And I just think if all of us were a little more thoughtful and focused on it, we could really do better for the sons, daughters, children, care partners, family members of those with younger onset dementia. So, um, just saying hi or saying I'm here with you is sometimes just enough. And I wish people knew that. But there's so much. What about you, Chelsea?
Yeah, totally. I think for me is one thing I wish people would realize is that it impacted and affected almost every single
Mm.
aspect of my life and still does, kind of both negatively and positively. My capacity and my ability to easily wake up and roll out of bed and like want to participate in life just is changed. Things like relationships or the idea of starting a family, hobbies, jobs, finances, my health, my worldview, the concept of time, and the way I interact with people out in the world is just so vastly different from before young onset dementia. Um, and losing the woman who brought me into this world and could only lead me through it for a very short amount of time. I'm still trying to figure out things as best as I can, and some things are still really day by day. I definitely don't have a 5-year plan, but I'm trying my best. Um, and I think kind of about the things that my mom was doing at my age and how life different was so different for her. But just what kind of grace and wisdom and lessons can I carry through from things that she may have experienced before life so drastically changed for the both of us that can make it kind of easier to go through and have the capacity to get out of bed and send emails and do a bunch of other things that life just doesn't wait for.
No, that's so true. That just that impact and that it impacts everything positive and negative really resonates with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
With all of that, that it is so deeply ingrained in us. I'd love to hear about how being a part of Lorenzo's house and Shine On has supported your grief journey and beyond.
Yeah. Um, the support has kind of come up in a way that I never really imagined possible. As many of us have experienced, I felt, and as we've been talking about, felt so completely alone in my journey. And during my mom's walk with young onset dementia. And I really did for the first full kind of year and a half after she had died. I didn't have a community of kindred spirits who got it. But I knew deep down I wasn't the only one who was going through this. I just didn't know kind of who all was out there. And so finally, that first year and a half post caregiving, I finally found Lorenzo's house, who very much confirms that they do have a whole beautiful community of families who know what I went through on their own journeys and with their own stories that they're able to tell. Um, and being a ray of light kind of out of so many that are in this community, shining a beam on young onset dementia and just being a part of the community in general is one of the biggest gifts I could have ever possibly received after going through what was arguably the most difficult, challenging, worst part of my life. This community has profoundly changed so much for me personally and professionally, and I'm so full of gratitude. Um, just bursts out constantly.
Yeah. No, I think that's really true. I mean, for me, being a part of Lorenzo's house and Shine On has really changed the trajectory, I think, of my grief.
Mhm.
Um, I've learned how to share my story with others through this space because I didn't talk a lot about it before I found Lorenzo's house. Like you, I joined a few years after my mom had passed. And so learning how to share that with others has been really powerful. And I have felt understood on a level that I don't even know if I knew was possible, or I didn't know that I needed as deeply as I do. So it's been huge. It kind of feels like, when you are carrying grief, or when I was carrying grief by myself, it just felt heavier. It feels heavier when there's isolation or loneliness or silence. And by having others to who understand and share it, it just feels a little bit lighter. It feels like there's more space for me to lean into the joy and the love of the relationship because there's others to help carry those heavy moments and shine on,
Yeah.
you know. And just practically, strategies, tools, we talk about that, understanding that yes, grief isn't linear. You can sort of understand that intellectually, but hearing it from so many different people who have that similar experience, but that it all looks different, has been really helpful in giving myself grace too on how I'm moving through the world and moving through grief.
Yeah. And being able to find those moments of connection, and especially in a space like Shine On, just makes the world of difference. And to be able to keep it going or to take a break and come back when you need. And it's just kind of always there for us and is really, really special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So Jessica, I'm wondering, what does honoring your mama Kathy and bringing her light forward look like for you today?
Mm. Um, Kind of like what you said, that my mom is a part of me and really a part of the decisions I make in my day-to-day life. And she imparted so many of the values that I hold and the things that are important to me. So I think I try to honor her every day in the way I live my life. I try to be there for others. In this space, I'm able to walk alongside children, teens, young adults, care partners, other sons, daughters, children, families, so that no one has to walk alone. And I know that if she were here and she knew that families were walking alone, that's exactly what she would do. Because she was a doer. She was not someone who would complain about things. She was not someone that would get weighed down by an overwhelming problem. She would just attack it. She would be like, we're going to do something about this, even if the impact is just one person. And that is the approach that I take day to day to try to bring her light forward, along with just sharing her memory and having this space right here to say her name and let everyone know who Kathy was and who she continues to be inside me, so, and my family. What about you?
So beautiful. I resonate a lot. And as you had mentioned earlier, kind of your mom's service-based heart. That was something my mom definitely instilled in me as well from a really young age. My mom was very much an advocate for other people in our life, children that we had come across through like swim meet or other endeavors in school. Any way that she could help them and a family out, she was really always there to the best of her ability. So like you, that's something I definitely try to carry forward with me each day. Um, it impacts the journey that I took in trying to find a new career as an end of life doula and wanting to support people at the end of life in a way that I wasn't supported, but knew, I would want to make a difference in someone else's life in the way that mine had been made in certain ways, made better. And I'm also just so fortunate to be able to connect with so many other families these days, especially through my connections with Lorenzo's house, as a daughter, but also as someone who's lucky enough, like to help out on the programs and the operational side of things. It looks like having a photo button made that I took with me to Lyon, France, so that I could have her with me. And anyone that I met was also meeting her too at the Next Gen Roundtable at the ADI conference, because she was the whole entire reason that I was there. Or making a friendship bracelet that says Kathy's daughter is kind of like a little souvenir that I can carry her with me always and just remember that, like, she's not here with me physically, but I am still her daughter. I am someone's daughter. You are someone's daughter. And it looks like introducing myself and talking to people about the places they've gone or the people they love and the things that they've done, things that are most dear to them. And it looks like deeply cherishing the time I can spend with my chosen family, my loved ones, singing out loud, smelling lavender, soaking up the ocean breeze, cultivating a grief garden, enjoying a sunrise or a sunset, or eating good chocolate. I try to live in a way that she would enjoy, but also for myself.
Oh, I love that. We always, on any kind of holiday, her birthday, Mother's Day, always do a toast with red wine to her because that was one of her favorites. And it just helps make us feel connected to keep those things that our moms loved, in our lives too.
Absolutely. And we carry them forward in different ways every day. But yeah, it's so special.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about with others in China just how we kind of plan to approach Mother's Day this year, and we got so many incredible ideas. But I'd love to hear from you, if there's other sons, daughters, children watching this, um, just what is something you would want them to hear today on Mother's Day that they can use to help them both celebrate and hold space for grief.
Yeah, so something that comes to mind to me is something you actually touched upon earlier, just the all of the feelings that we can feel on this day or any day in particular, they all can coexist with each other and it's completely okay. Joy, anger, happy tears, sad tears, love, pain, confusion, nostalgia, grief in any form is so valid. You're not wrong for feeling how you feel, however that is. So please try to feel it with as much grace and love and gentleness for yourself as possible. Process through it in a way that feels good to you, whether that's through creative outlets or moving your body or a comfort meal, getting out in nature, your favorite movie, or snuggling with a pet or someone you love. Um, just sending everyone so much love as they get through the day or any other day to the best of their ability. What about you?
I love that. So similar. I just want sons, daughters, children, anyone who is grieving on Mother's Day to know that their feelings are their own. Kind of like what we've talked about, there is no one right way to grieve. And so what works for me and what I want might not be what they need or want, and that's okay. I want them to know they're not alone, that others do understand that it can be a really hard day, and that you can choose to approach it any way you want. This is my fifth Mother's Day without my mom, which seems kind of impossible to even understand. But what I've learned works for me is both to have kind of a plan for how I want to spend the day and giving myself the permission to change my mind if that doesn't feel okay. Um, has been really important for me to know that a plan is there and it doesn't have to be stuck to if it doesn't feel right on the day.
Absolutely. Options are important in many different aspects of life, and especially when we're carrying grief and trying to move through days that others will experience differently. Yeah, that's all such great advice, Jessica.
Yeah. And I just want other sons, daughters, children who had a parent with younger onset dementia to know that we at Shine On are here too. So if they want to join our community, we would welcome them with open arms.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks, Chelsea, for sharing your beautiful thoughts with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for taking this time with me as well, Jessica. It's been really great to connect further with you about both of our Cathys.
Yes,
Yeah.
Kathy's, I love it.